Hello, this video is about our statistics project. We are students of the LNI Global Program from CETIS Universidad.
Hi, today we're gonna talk about the life quality of LNA Global Program foreign students. As introduction, we want to measure the quality of life of foreign students, since we as foreign students would like to know the experience of other students measuring the quality of life in their foreign homes and in the school. As we are talking about introduction, this takes me to the next step that is objectives. And our main objectives on this research will be measuring the quality of life of foreign students through statistics helps universities and institutions understand their needs better, enabling the improvement of support services and creating a better environment for a successful academic journey away from home. We will accomplish this objective by using a distribution table, mean, and a standard deviation, and hypothesis.
So there are two types of variables, qualitative and quantitative. In this case, we're going to use quantitative. So as we can see in here, our variables are the number of rooms and bathrooms in the foreign homes, their weekly money allowance, the ways of transport, and financial aid from the school. So for our analysis, we gather all our information from the book, from our course, also from Scribit, and also by a reference of an engineer, which is Ivanna's dad. So one of the questions we asked ourselves was, what is the probability of selecting 1,500 pesos from the weekly allowance from the data? So for this problem, we use the probability distribution, which is a listing of all the outcomes of an experiment and the probability associated with each outcome. We also use the hypothesis. And you may think, what is an hypothesis? An hypothesis is a statement about a population parameter subject to verification. So what we did was to make an hypothesis and then verify it.
So we're going to be starting with our first problem, which is descriptive statistics. And in this problem, we're talking about a school that, in order to help their students, conducted a survey to assess the impact of providing extra support on their quality of life. So this can be by implementing scholarships or groups of support to their students. 78.6% responded positively, indicating that they believe that they would improve their quality of life with the additional financial support, and 21% of the students responded negatively. Now, in this problem, we have to calculate the mean and the standard deviation of the responses regarding the likelihood of improving quality of life with the extra support. And lastly, we have to interpret the mean of and standard deviation in the context of the survey. So the objective of this problem overall is to understand and analyze whether the institution can support its students in other areas or increase financial aid or scholarships through the mean and standard deviation from the results of the survey from the foreign students. And in these results, and in the results, we have in the mean that the mean represents the average response of the students regarding the likelihood of improving quality of life with the extra support, which in this case is 0.786, which on average is around 78.6% of the surveyed foreign students that believe that they would improve their quality of life with additional economic support from the school. And then we have in the standard deviation that a lower standard deviation suggests that responses are closer to the mean, indicating a more consistent opinion among students. And for the standard deviation, we have 0.26, which is relatively low standard deviation. And that suggests that the opinion amongst the surveyed foreign students are relatively consistent regarding the impact of extra economic support on their quality of life. In summary, the average, which is a majority of surveyed foreign students, believe that better economic support from the school could improve their quality of life. And those opinions are relatively consistent among all of the surveyed students. And all of this problem can help the school explore and implement additional economic support programs or initiatives that specifically cater to the needs and concerns expressed by the students. And all of this can be, as I mentioned earlier, scholarships, financial aids, or employment opportunities that can help with the financial burdens of foreign students.
So for this probability problem, we wanted to know different situations and different things too. So we encounter the problem of not knowing the probabilities of the students' allowances. For example, we wanted to know if we asked a foreign student the probability of one of them having 1,500 pesos as a weekly allowance. So imagine yourself as you were in our classroom, and suddenly we have all the foreign students standing in the front. And with this, let's say that we choose one person randomly, and we wanted to know what is the probability of that person having the weekly budget of 1,500 pesos. So that's why we made that distribution table, because with a distribution table, it is easy to do and easy to comprehend it. The objective for this was to know the weekly budgets of each student and with the probabilities to know the most common weekly budget among them. So here we have the results. In the results, we gather them from the people that got the survey. So here we have that 6 out of 14, which is approximately 0.4285, which is 42%, said that they have a weekly allowance of 1,000 pesos. This 42%, although it's a high number, it's not the majority of the number. So for 7 people out of the 14, 0.50% said that they received a weekly allowance of 1,500 pesos. And 1 out of the 14 people, which is approximately 0.071, which translates to 7.40%, said that they received 2,000 pesos. So for our conclusion, we conclude with the probability distribution that the most of the students receive 1,500 pesos as their weekly allowance amount, which is 50% of the survey. So our recommendation, to further deepen the information on the weekly budgets, the other 50% of the students, which I mean the ones that earn 1,000 and 2,000 per week, to do another weekly budget amount. What do I mean with that? That they should look if that amount is correctly for their needs. Because to the ones that have 1,000 pesos as their weekly amount could be too low. We could also conduct a socioeconomic study in order to know their weekly budget that is fair to their needs. So basically, we want to know if that money is enough for them to live here as foreign students and also to live here as citizens of Mexicali.
Now we're going to talk about the hypothesis testing problem. In this problem, it states that in a survey of 14 participants were asked what their convenience is. The result shows that 7 of them have their own car, 4 of them moving over, 1 on bicycle, 1 on public transportation, and another one on taxi. So with this, we want to investigate whether there is a significant difference in the proportions of people using different modes of transportation among the served participants. Then, as objective, we want to find out if there is a significant difference between the different modes of transportation of foreign students through hypothesis testing. So now I'm going to give you the solution of this problem. So as we can see, the null and alternative hypothesis is give as H0, that is the proportion of people using different modes of transportation, is equal among served participants. Then we have H1, that is the proportion of people using different modes of transportation is not equal among served participants. So as we can see, the value of n, it will be 14. So seeing this, we expect the values for each class is given as EI, that it will be 14 divided by 5, that it will give us 2.8. Because as we can see, K is number of categories of class, that it will be 5. So as we can see, this equal to 9.29. So now OI, it is the observed value of EI, is the expected value of the int class. Now we do the degree of freedom, that is K minus 1, which this will be equal to 4. So p-value is found in R using 1 minus the results given us, which equals to 0.0358. Assume level that it will be the significance of 0.05. We can say that the results is since the p-value is less than the significant level, we reject H0. And decision rule is that we reject H0 if p-value is less than the significant level. We conclude that there is sufficient evidence to conclude that the proportion of people in different class of transportation modes is different at 5% level of significance. And For the last thing of recommendation, knowing the significant difference in the type of means of transportation, we can recommend seeking arrangements with the school to provide transportation service agreed upon the tuition fees to transport all the setting students while ensuring their safety when arrive and departing from school.
To conclude our research, with these results from the survey, we will be able to conclude that foreign students are looking for from CETIS in the future. This will also help us recognize and understand experiences of foreign students in the university, and also to create a welcoming and inclusive educational environment, to promote cultural exchange, and to prepare students for success in an interconnected world. Thank you so much for your attention. We hope you learned a lot and that you enjoyed our investigation.